Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. In today's video, I'll be making some cards using Spellbinders' brand new Fluted Classics die release. There are 5 different sets. I have 4 of them, and these are so fun. So there's a rectangle, an oval, square, circle, and the set I don't have is the slimline set. So you get several different dies with each of the sets. 3 of those dies have this fun detail little frame going all around the outside, and the others will just cut out that solid shape. The sets are great if you need to add some basic shape dies to your stash, and then you'll also get that fun etched detail along the edge of 3 of those dies. So it has the etching and also a pierced frame all along that outside edge. I will have links provided in the description box if you are interested in any of the die sets or products I use in this video. So here are the ovals. So again, you get those 3 pieces that have that etched detail. Next are the squares, and then finally the circles. I use all 4 of these shapes on my cards all the time. I don't make as many slimline cards, so I decided to pass on that set. The paper collection I'll be using is by P13. This is the 4 Seasons Autumn Collection. I believe it was released last year, but I never got around to making any cards with it. So for card number 1, I have this beautiful tone-on-tone pattern. There's some leaves in the background. I used the largest rectangle fluted die for the background. Then I cut a smaller piece. It's the same paper, I just used the opposite side. So it has this fun image. There's a little hedgehog on there and lots of florals and leaves and some little mushrooms. And I cut out that panel using one of the rectangle dies that's included in the set. To adhere my card panel onto a card base, I am putting some double-sided tape along that outside edge. I want to make sure it'll all lay nice and flat. I find that sometimes dies that have that extra detail, maybe a stitching, or in this case that fluted pattern, they don't always lay flat. So either use some liquid adhesive, or this time I'm using some double-sided tape. I also cut out a frame, so this is the next size down of the rectangle fluted die. I used the same pattern paper as the background. I'll be popping this up using some thin foam strips. So trying to get good coverage so part of the frame doesn't droop down at all. So once I have all of those strips down, I can remove the release paper. And when I attach this frame, there'll still be about 1/4 of an inch of that image panel still showing around the frame. So trying to get it nice and straight. For the sentiment, I'm using a stamp set from Spellbinders called Fall Greetings. Lots of great sentiments on this set. I placed my whole card in my mini MISTI, then I can ink up the sentiment Hello Fall, and I do ink it up twice. I want to make sure to get that nice solid impression. To finish off the card, I'm adding some gem stickers. This is the gold mix from Spellbinders, putting a few around the sentiment and 2 in the upper right hand corner. This gold color looks so pretty with the background colors. And there is my finished card. I love how this turned out. The detail from the fluted dies is so pretty. Now moving on to card number 2. For all of the cards, I'll be using that same autumn collection from P13. I have some beautiful floral paper for the background. I love the vivid colors. I'm adding a strip of the orange tone-on-tone pattern paper that has the leaves. Also putting some Love from Lizzie peel-offs along the edge of that piece, just for some extra shine. This is the clear gold mirror color in the pinstripe style. I am able to leave a gap since I'll be adding a circle and images over that area. So I'll just wrap the ends around the back, put ATG tape on this piece, and layer it on my cardstock background. And I also used the large rectangle fluted die for the extra detail. I'll put my card front onto a card base, again using some double-sided tape along the very outside edge. I'll remove the release paper and adhere my card front onto a card base. For the large circle, I use another pattern paper. It has a very distressed look. Also used one of the circle fluted dies. So this will have a double design with the rectangle and also the circle. I'll use some liquid adhesive to adhere the circle die cut. I also added an acrylic block on top of that circle for some extra weight to let the glue adhere. One thing that's really fun about this paper collection, there are lots of cut apart images. It's on the back of the front cover and also the back cover. So I did cut out several different pieces. I have a sweet little bird and also several leaves and other little plants. I'll be arranging all of these on the large circle. Now some of the areas I will pop up using some thin foam squares, mostly on the very top of the images. So I'm starting on the left and moving my way toward the right. And I will be tucking that little bird underneath some of the leaves. I have always been a fan of making fall cards, and the colors in this collection are beautiful. The fluted detail really adds a lovely frame for all the images. It's so nice having other options rather than just a stitch circle die. I have just a few more leaves to attach, and all of the pieces in front I am popping up using the thin foam squares. For this sentiment, I'm using the fall greeting stamp set again. I've already stamped out "Fall is the best season of all," and I'll be tucking it underneath the leaves more on the right side. Since it will be on top of the leaves on the very left, I am adding some scrap cardstock on the right side. That way it'll all stay at the same level. I'll put some liquid adhesive on the back and adhere it to the card. And I am tucking it underneath one of the leaves, just slightly. Then to finish up the card, I'll bring out the gold mixed gem stickers again. Put 2 of them in the upper right-hand corner and then 3 around the images and the sentiment. I like how the gold mix has half of it a darker gold and the other half a brighter gold. And there's also several different sizes. Lots of these teeny tiny little gem stickers, which are the perfect size. So there is my finished card, and this is card number 2. For card number 3, I'm using a card sketch for inspiration. This is MFT number 441. For this card, I'm using the square fluted die set. So this will be framing my image. I have the double-sided tape on the outside edges, and I'm layering it on some dark brown cardstock. I'll attach the squares onto the pattern paper background. Such a pretty paper, lots of fall squash images. I'm also adding a couple of Love from Lizzie peel-offs along the bottom portion of the card, and the sentiment will sit right on top of that. I'm using the clear gold mirror color in the pinstripe style. And since most of it will be covered up, you could use just some small pieces. I find it easier to get everything straight if I have at least one piece going all the way across the card. Then I can use some of the scrap pieces for that second piece. I'll layer this panel on some orange cardstock and then again on the dark brown cardstock. I'll put my card front onto a card base. And if I didn't mention it earlier, all of my cards in this video are American Standard A2 size. So 4¼ inches by 5½ inches. For the image on the card, I have another cut apart that's included in the paper collection. This cute little squirrel holding its acorn. I've already stamped out the sentiment Fall Blessings. This is included on Spellbinders Charming Pumpkins stamp set. I'll be layering the sentiment on the same dark brown cardstock. And I also put some foam squares on the back side so I could pop this up. I'll add a small banner in the upper left-hand corner, and I'm just cutting the little fishtail by hand. I'll adhere it using some liquid adhesive. Then to finish off the card, I'll add some more of the gold mixed gem stickers. This is the darker gold color. Putting 2 of them in the upper left-hand corner, 1 next to the squirrel and 2 around the sentiment. And there is my finished card. The fluted dies are perfect for framing an image. You could also add a sentiment there as well. Now moving on to card number 4, and this is my final card. This sketch is from MFT. It's number 564. I have this fun pattern paper for the background that looks like lots of tree slices. I'm adding more of that orange pattern paper that has the leaves, using some more of the clear gold mirror peel-offs along the edge of that orange strip of pattern paper. I will be covering up quite a bit of this strip with that large oval, so I'm able to use some of the scrap peel-off pieces. I'll just wrap the ends around the back just to make sure they won't come off later. Then I can attach this piece onto my background. I used the largest oval die with the fluted design and cut out this beautiful teal distress pattern paper. I'll layer my card panel on some dark brown cardstock and then put my card front onto a card base. And for this card, I am leaving that 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. Before attaching the oval to the card, I will put some scrap cardstock pieces on the right and left side where it goes over that strip. I'm just using some brown cardstock that I had sitting on my craft desk, trimming it down so it's the correct size. I'll glue that down with some liquid adhesive. I find it helpful to hold that piece onto the card to make sure I cut the appropriate size of the scrap cardstock pieces. For the right side of the oval, I need just a very small piece. And this will just make sure you won't have that noticeable dent on the front of the card. Once those are in place, I can put some liquid adhesive on the back side and attach my oval. Now this oval is slightly smaller than what's indicated on the sketch since the edges don't go off the end of the card, but I think it still works out just fine. Now I'll add some leaf images to the center of the oval. I cut out 5 different leaves. This is from Spellbinders Autumn Leaves die set. Love this set, has great detail on all of those leaves. I used some brown pearlescent cardstock and also some gold satin mirror cardstock for each of the leaves. And I am popping up the end of the leaf, the very top portion, with some thin foam squares. And I'll put liquid adhesive on the lower area. I cut out 3 of the leaves in gold, then I'll add the brown leaves in between the gold leaves. After I finish this card, I think I should have swapped the placement of the brown leaves. I have the larger brown leaf on the right, and it's next to the largest of the gold leaves, and I think it would have looked better if I put it on the left. But there is no way I can pull those up without ripping my card, so I will just leave them there. For this sentiment, I'm using Fall is the Best Season of All. It's the same one I used on a previous card. I stamped it using Mandarin Spice Ink Color by Catherine Pooler. I'll cut some fishtails on both ends. I'll add a scrap piece of cardstock on the left side of the sentiment. The very right side, it's sitting on top of that maple leaf, which has some of the foam dimension underneath, so I'm just trying to keep everything level. I'll also put some of the thin foam squares on the back side. And it's a fairly thin strip, so I did need to cut those foam squares down. Remove the release paper and adhere the sentiment on top of the leaves, just over the stems. Trying to make sure to get it nice and straight before I press it down. Then to finish off the card, I'll add some more of the gold mixed gem stickers, this time that lighter gold color. Putting 2 in the upper right-hand corner and 3 around the images and the sentiment. There's lots of sparkle and shine on this card. And there is my finished card. The fluted design on the oval really helps frame those beautiful leaves and the sentiment. Now here's another look at the 4 cards I made using Spellbinders brand new Fluted Classics die release. I will have links provided in the description box if you are interested in any of the products I used in this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.